The roar starts before you can even see them. 40 feet of asphalt banking, 20 turns carved into the Texas hill country, and somewhere out on lap 75 of the Duramax Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas on March 1st, 2026, something goes terribly wrong. A wheel, a single 50-pound piece of aluminum and rubber, separates from Ross Chastain's No. One Trackhouse racing Chevrolet at racing speed, tumbling across the road course as cars approach at over 140 miles per hour. In a sport measured in thousandths of a second, it takes only one mistake to unravel everything. But before we get to the chaos of Austin, to the penalties and suspensions that followed, and to the ongoing story of a driver who has made a career out of being impossible to ignore, we need to understand what these machines actually are. The next-gen NASCAR Cup Series car does not roll off a factory floor. It is assembled by hand, piece by piece, in shops scattered across Mooresville, North Carolina, by engineers who have spent careers pushing the limits of what a stock car can do. On the outside, it looks like a Chevrolet Camaro ZL1, a Ford Mustang, or a Toyota Camry. Under the skin, it is something else entirely. The chassis is built in 3 separate sections, a front clip, a center section, and a rear clip, all bolted together from a platform originally engineered by Dallara. This modular design means that if a driver destroys the rear of the car against the wall at Talladega, the team doesn't scrap the whole machine. They unbolt the damaged section, attach a fresh one, and get back to work. The body panels are carbon fiber reinforced plastic, lighter and more flexible than metal, but strong enough to handle forces most of us will never experience. Those panels sit over a full undertray, a sealed carbon fiber floor that channels air from a front splitter to a rear diffuser, generating ground effect downforce that pushes the car into the pavement and allows it to corner at speeds that would send any street car airborne. For 2026, NASCAR boosted the power ceiling to 750 horsepower at short tracks and road courses, the biggest performance jump since the next-gen era began, with a naturally aspirated 5.86-liter pushrod V8. That sustains over 9,000 revolutions per minute for hours at a stretch. Inside the cockpit, the driver sits in a custom carbon fiber seat surrounded by chromoly steel roll cage tubing, working a sequential gearbox with no traditional clutch pedal and a steering wheel that detaches and clips back on in less than a second. The electronic control unit monitors output across different track types, and an A-post flap near the windshield, now mandatory in 2026, prevents cars from becoming airborne in certain crash scenarios. Every major component comes from NASCAR-approved single-source suppliers to level the playing field. Thousands of hours of computational fluid dynamics, simulation, and wind tunnel testing go into finding the edge within those limits. The smallest aerodynamic gain, invisible to the naked eye, can be the difference between winning and running 15th. 3 races into 2026, Ross Chastain's season looks nothing like the trajectory his team hoped for. He finished 20th at the Daytona 500, bounced back with a solid 3rd-place run at Atlanta, and then came COTA, where he actually won Stage 1 and recorded the fastest lap of the entire race before the right rear wheel detached under full green flag conditions on lap 75. The car spun violently. The wheel rolled across the racing surface, and Chastain coaxed what was left of his Chevrolet back to pit road. Under section, the 8th of August, 2010, 4 of NASCAR's rulebook, losing a tire beyond pit road is automatic and non-negotiable, a 2-lap in-race penalty, and a 2-race suspension for 2 crew members after it. On March 4th, 2026, NASCAR confirmed that rear tire changer Kenneth Posega and Jackman Josh Appleby of Trackhouse Racing are suspended through the Las Vegas Motor Speedway event on March 15th, meaning the team goes into Phoenix on March 8th, and Las Vegas a week later with a restructured pit crew. That matters enormously. Wheel detachment penalties don't just cost points in the moment. They strip a team of the chemistry, timing, and muscle memory that pit crews spend months building. A replacement crew member performing a sub-4-second tire change at racing speed with less familiarity with that specific car can erase weeks of garage preparation in a single stop. Chastain absorbed the 2-lap penalty on track, finished 35th in a 3-7 car field, and now sits 20th in the Cup standings, a deep hole in a year when Tyler Reddick has already won the first 3 races in historic fashion. But the wheel at COTA wasn't even the loudest controversy Chastain generated in the opening weeks of 2026. That came at Atlanta on February 21st, during the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series race at Echo Park Speedway. Chastain was running double duty in the No. 32 Jordan Anderson Racing Chevrolet. Austin Hill had dominated the day in his number 21 RCR Chevrolet and appeared to be closing out his second consecutive win to start the season. Then came the white flag. Chastain tucked into the draft behind Hill down the backstretch, the 2 cars locked in the slipstream, and as Hill moved low to protect the lead entering turn 3, Chastain refused to lift. The contact was brief but decisive. Hill's car snapped sideways. Sheldon Creed threaded through the carnage to claim his first series win, and Hill regrouped to finish 12th. After the race, Hill was direct. "I could care less to talk to Ross Chastain," he told reporters. A quote immediately amplified across X with the caption, "Ross Chastain doing Ross Chastain things." Chastain reached out afterward in what was described as an uncomfortable post-race conversation, maintaining his position that, in super speedway-style drafting, the last lap changes the math entirely. If the run is there, you take it. Ryan Blaney addressed the incident Monday on the Door Bumper Clear podcast, one of the most followed shows in the NASCAR garage community. "At the end of that race, I don't blame either of them for doing what they did," Blaney said. "Austin has to throw the block, and Ross is going to take the run. It's just part of it. If that run comes halfway down the backstretch, you don't see that." But he just came into 3, and Ross is like, "Well, I gotta take this somewhere." And Austin is like, "Well, I gotta protect." Just 2 guys that came together. That's part of that racing. Competition director Tommy Baldwin offered a blunter read on the same show. Austin Hill does Ross Chastain things a lot too. He just got Chastained instead of Hilled. In NASCAR, the line between competitor and villain shifts entirely depending on which side of the contact you're standing on. Posega and Appleby will be back on pit road at Las Vegas on March 15th. Chastain will keep racing, keep taking runs, keep collecting fastest laps in races he finishes 35th. Austin Hill has already made clear that the next time is fair game. And somewhere in a shop in Mooresville, an engineer is staring at CFD data trying to find the last 1/10 of a second. The car that lost that wheel is one of the most sophisticated machines in American motorsport, modular, aerodynamic, 750 horsepower of old-school pushrod engineering wrapped in modern carbon fiber precision. It is built to withstand almost anything. The rules exist because nothing, and no one, is built to last without accountability. That's NASCAR in 2026. The machine is extraordinary, and the sport is relentlessly, beautifully human.